Hi everyone. So for this week's topic for my video, I am focusing on the topic of organizational change. Since I've started at my field placement, there's been a lot of changes within the agency and a lot of changes coming into the agency. So I'm going to go over a couple of those and maybe see what you think about them. So when I first started at my field placement, they had just recently got a new head of the agency. And that's like a major change because he's a lot different than the last one, but mostly positive. My supervisor told me that the last head of the agency was very negative and created a lot of division in the agency against the children's team and the adults team. So there was a lot of tension between that and a lot of tension just between coworkers in general. So there's a new head of the agency, and so far it's going really well. He's very positive. He's very team oriented, so that's going really well. I kind of came in when a lot of changes were going on. Aside from that, too, they had already one LCSW who had just left. They're not filling his spot, and then about 2 weeks ago, another LCSW on the children's team just changed positions to another agency. So that was a change too. And they aren't filling those positions, and I'll get into that in just a minute. My supervisor is a clinician, and she's actually changing positions to join the crisis team, which deals with crisis and assessment, people that are in the middle of an emergency or just been discharged from the hospital and need to be referred for treatment. So she's actually changing over to that because she's been a therapist for about 15 years, so she's kind of looking for a change. So she has a caseload of 75 clients that are going to be dispersed to different people in the agency. And the reason they're not filling her position or any of the other positions is because the head of like the economical stuff in the agency, they're all focusing on productivity. That's like a big thing in the agency right now. They want to make sure that you are booked to the max, that you're filling as many billable hours as possible. There's been a lot of meetings that I've gone to about this productivity. It all comes down to these statistics and making sure that you're scheduled to the fullest so that the agency is making as much money as they're spending. Because right now, they are losing a quarter of the $1 billion that they use each year. So that's significant. Another big concern is the agency CCSI, which is implementing a centralized scheduling system into the agency. Before, therapists could make their own schedules. They could schedule with clients in whatever order they wanted. They could put in paperwork times, whatever. It was really flexible. And of course, they also had the front staff where like the secretaries would be able to schedule too, but it was a combined thing. So now it's going to be centralized scheduling, which is it'll be made by the front desk. The therapist doesn't have any say in how much they get scheduled or who they schedule on certain days, anything like that. So they are kind of losing the control over that. And this is also to contribute to productivity. So it's going to be, they're going to schedule as many people in the day as possible, and the therapist doesn't really have a choice of what order it goes in or anything like that. So I actually just went to a meeting on this today, and a lot of the therapists are really against it because they know what clients do well with what time frames. Like some of these people function better later in the day or earlier in the day. So like the therapist knows the individuals and they know like what works. So they're pretty against this right now. But it's all going back to productivity and having as many clients come in as possible, which is another problem with that. A lot of the clients at this mental health agency are Medicaid, and they don't have any consequences for no-shows or canceling appointments. So that's another problem because those slots that are no-shows or cancellations are not billable. So the agency just missed out on, 45 minutes or an hour of individual psychotherapy. So they're trying to come up with a way to decrease the amount of no-shows, but a lot of the clinicians have concerns about that because there's people that will simply just not come because they're not gonna, a lot of them are just not ready to, or have, on the family team, there's a lot of concerns, like a mother with like 6 kids, she's trying to work around a million different things, she's gonna have cancellations sometimes, so there's a lot of concerns about that. And then there's also a lot of clients that they close the case and then they readmit them. And it happens in a cycle, so it's kind of pointless to keep closing and opening, just because they miss certain appointments. So I'm kind of wondering what your opinions are on the centralized scheduling. I'm kind of torn about it because I see that productivity is important, but on the other hand, the clinicians kind of know what works. So just curious to see what your thoughts are, and thanks.